All right, guys. This is this is like the fourth time I've tried to record this. I don't get what's going on here. That's okay. Let's pray. Lord, I just pray that this would upload to YouTube, this would record correctly, everything would be okie dokie, hunky dory, fine and dandy swell. So we just pray this in Jesus' name. Clickety click. What is a map? Okay. We have our standard definition here. A map is a symbolic representation of an actual element or an area on a flat surface. Okay? That's like a big way of just saying it's a piece of paper that has mountains on it, that has houses on it, that these little shapes and images represent something, and that it's going to give us some detailed features and an illustration so that we can figure out where we are, what's being represented. You guys have seen maps, you guys know maps, you guys know what it's used for, okay? Like I know that you do. You know that you can use them for directions, you know that you can use them to figure out climate in a certain area, you can figure out population size by it. You guys know this, okay? What a map is, you know. All right. I'm not even worried about that. But we're gonna get into some specific types of maps that people use, and these are the ones that are kind of most common in day-to-day life. Okay. So the first one we're going to talk about is a topographical map. All right. This shows the shape and character of the Earth's surface, or basically it shows you um, how high the land is or how low the land is. It can show you where mountains are. It can show you where ridges are. It can show you where water is. It can show you where people have built houses. It can show you cities. And they're used for civil engineering, meaning that they use these maps to determine uh, layout of a city. They can say, okay, well, if we're going to expand our city over into this area, how is that going to work? What obstacles are we going to have to work through, to avoid, or to work around, or how are we gonna figure this out? Do we have to build retaining walls? Is the soil is it too loose and we need to plant like some trees to hold the soil in? Um, Stuff like that. Topographical maps can be used for stuff like that. They can also be used for hiking. So when you're a hiker, my sister wants to hike the Appalachian Trail from Georgia all the way up to Maine. It's going to take her 6 months. Um, and she loves hiking, but she's going to take maps with her for every single state and also maps of the Appalachian Trail. Why is she going to do that? Because she needs to be able to determine her exact location so that she doesn't get lost. Now you can make the argument that, oh well, we have satellite GPS systems and all this stuff. Yeah, we do, but that all runs on battery. And if you're in the woods for 2 weeks, well, there is the possibility that the batteries are going to run out or you're going to leave it on, and then you're going to be in trouble if you don't know how to use a map. So hikers will use these all the time. If you are a serious hiker, you know how to use a map, you know how to use a compass, you know how to read latitude, longitude, and north, south, east, west, and which way you're going. Okay? Another reason, if you're a hunter, hunters will use this. Um, Specifically, what I'm thinking of is in Alaska when you can go hunt grizzly and you can go hunt moose. Well, when they drop you by plane out in the middle of Alaska, you're in the wilderness. You're by yourself. You need to know where the mountains are, where the bears are, where the moose are. You need to know how to get there. What's the best route to get there? If you actually kill the animal, how are you going to get back to your camp? You need to know what your physical limitations are, and a map can tell you if there's a big ridge that you're going to have to climb to get to like where you want to be, or if there's a path that is going to take you a mile out of your way, but it's much easier to walk. You need to know you can read a map and understand that and say, okay, well, I don't really want to climb that ridge. That's too much for me, but I know I can walk this. So topographical maps are very useful. All right. Last thing here, it'll show you the forest cover. It'll show you the bodies of water. That's important if you need to drink. You know, if you got to purify some water, or you're out in the wilderness there, bada bang, bada boom, scoop up some water in your old canteen, you're good to go. But you need to know how to get to that water in order to fill your canteen. All right? Topographical maps. That's what they're for. One or two examples here. So you can see here we have some contour lines. We're going to get into that next time. But you can see here by looking at this map, I can read that this is a higher elevation than down here. This is lower. This is higher. And all these lines will tell me that um, I'm going to be going uphill in order to get to the top here. All right. So just in case, I just realized this is lower, this is higher, and all these lines tell me that that's higher. And we're going to get into that later on. But when we read this, I know that I'm climbing up a hill if I want to get to if I want to get to this place. If my destination is right here, I can decide if I want to go as the crow flies straight up this hill, maybe mountain, and then down, or if I decide, you know what, I'm going to take the leisurely way around. Topographical maps can help you determine that. Okay, moving on. We have another topographical map. Again, it shows you high areas. It shows you, it'll show you like a body of water. We got like a tree here. What do you think that symbolizes, guys? I don't know. Probably arrowheads. Nope. Symbolizes that there's a set like some woods there. Okay. Same thing over here. Reading this, you have this understanding of what this is and where you are. Okay. This is just a brief overview. We're going to go into much more detail with contour lines and reading it next time. But I'm just trying to give you an idea. Geologic maps, all right? These are maps that are used to show geological features such as geological strata, rock units, and plates. So you guys know we talked about the continental plates. We've talked about fault lines. We've talked about the Ring of Fire. All those things, okay? Well, we know where they are, but how do we know where they are? Is because geologists and cartographers have gone out and they've mapped all that stuff for us. They use colors and everything to kind of clear it up for us so we can see everything. So it'll show us fault lines, folds in the earth. Right here, we got one, right? So you can see here that, like, say this is North America, and it's telling us all sorts of stuff. Like it talks about here, like this color here is the shield. We talked about the Canadian Shield, if you guys remember. This big, just chunk of rock that's just there in the Canadian Shield. We know this is all rock, okay? We know that, and that's part of what this map is telling us. It's telling us all this stuff that geologists need to know and that they want to know. Um, it's a very useful little map for uh, like geologists for doing surveys and stuff. We also have a generalized geologic map. All right, and what does this tell us? Well, this tells us, look at here, this purple granite. That this is all this is granite. This is that certain type of stone. Right here, we know that there's quartz, sandstone, and shale in the yellow right here, right? There's all sorts of stuff. Do we have any marble here? I see this color. I don't see it on the map. But oh, look at this marble. Look at that. There's marble in that area. Fantastic. Now we know that. So we can tell where there's what different types of rock and soil and everything is when we use maps like this, and that can be very important. Going here, we got political map. Caleb, your favorites? Not favorites, but political maps. These are probably the maps that you are most familiar with that you see in school all the time. We have them in Mrs. Crone's room. Map of the United States, all different colors, right? Well, what is it? It shows us the boundaries of countries, or the boundaries of states, or the boundaries of cities, and all that stuff. It shows us political boundaries. All right, one state to another state. There's lines there that differentiate the two different states. All right, or the two different countries, or the multiple countries. All right, and there's going to be all sorts of colors that you're going to see that show you that. All right, it'll show you the bodies of water. It'll show you big cities, land masses. Um, what, like I said, familiar one. So here we have one, right? This, as you can see, look at this political map. We can see that all of the states are divided. We can see that. We see the individual 48 states down here, and then we see Alaska up here. Hawaii, yeah, it's over here. There's someplace, okay? But we see that there's the line between Canada and the United States of America. There's the line between Mexico and the United States of America. All right? This is a political map. It shows us different countries, different states, or if you're in Canada, provinces, right? Boop. All right, moving on. We have next. Oh, we have another political map. Look at all the different colors for all the countries. These colors help show us where the different countries are. You know, that's one of the reasons why there's so many different colors. Because look, you get up in here, and this would be much more clear if we were at school. I know, but look, up here in Europe, all these different colors for all these different countries. It's going to make things a lot clearer. In Africa, look at this. Boom, country, country. Ooh, right there. Russia. We talked about Russia. Russia. Right there, right? Canada. Oh, sorry. United States, pink. Canada, orange. This shows us their boundary lines, the government's boundary lines, the country's boundary lines. It also tells us major cities. If we zoom in on here, you're going to see New York City, you're going to see Washington, you might see Boston, okay? You might over here, you might find yourself Denmark, you might find yourself Venice, right? Um you're going to find all these cities in there, all right? This is what a political map is, okay? Physical map. These maps are designed to show the physical or natural landscape features of the Earth, right? How high a place is, how low a place is, where sea level is, how far above sea level a certain place is, how far below, um, like in St. Louis, how far below sea level they are, right? So, and they'll show a few things. They'll show like soil type. It'll show, like I said, mountains, land. It'll have roads, it'll have buildings on there. But the main thing that it wants to do is to show you the physical surroundings of that area. It wants to show you how the land is laid out. Okay? So these ones are colorful. So right here you can see all this, right? This is, where's my little pointer? I don't know where it went. Oh, it's down here. Okay. But right up here you can see like here, all this green here. What do you guys think this is? What is this telling us? Oh, I know. Guess what? Amazon. That's right. Amazon rainforest. Right over here. Russia. Guess what? Guess what that is? Yeah. Yeah. That's where a bunch of trees are, right? Um, there's a better one. Where is it? This one here. This one's for the United States of America, but look, land elevation. So this map is going to tell us about land elevation right here when we have the green, we're basically at sea level. All right, we're right here at sea level. So we got New York, we got Boston, we're at sea level. But you start going, these colors start getting like a little more yellow, a little more brown. Guess what? What does that tell us? It's a higher elevation. Look at this. We're going from 0. Now we're going into like 2,450, right? Appalachian Mountains. That color right here, this is the Appalachian Mountains all right here. This is where my sister wants to hike, right? Goes all the way up to Maine. Um, but look at that. All right. It goes, if I can look at this color correctly, it looks like we're looking at 6,500 feet. All right. So we know that this is higher. We know over here in the central lowlands, well, guess what? It's about 200 to 650 feet above sea level. Over here, oh, the Rocky Mountains, right? Look at that. Huh? 13,100 feet. That's ginormous. Okay? And then, I mean, but you get the picture. That is what this map is used for. All right? This physical map here. All right. Road map. Road map, it's mainly used for navigation, for directions. Okay? You guys probably are not so familiar with these ones anymore because we have GPS and everybody has it on their phones. But it's something that you actually should know because your phones are going to die at some point and you're going to need to know how to get someplace or you're going to forget your charger, right? But road maps, they have, um, they're basically street maps, okay? Now you can have a highway map, which gives you an overview of an entire area and the main highways, okay? And then once you get to like the town you want to go to, so a highway map will you can say like, okay, well I need to take Route 3 to get to Rockland, okay? But then that highway map just shows you the major highway routes and what exit to get off. But then once you get into Rockland, you need a map specific for Rockland. And that's where a street map comes in handy because it has every single street in Rockland on that map. and you can figure out how to get to Calvary Chapel Academy from the Home Depot in Rockland if you need to using a street map. All right. So it displays roads. It displays like transport links such as like buses, subways. You can have stuff like that on there. The trains, it'll have like a little railroad track on there usually. It can show geographical information, right? It can show tourism sites, right? It can show like buildings, prominent buildings, recreation facilities like parks, restaurants. Oh, I already said train stations and airports, right? So again, highway maps, it gives you an overview of major routes within a region, and then the street maps give you um, it gives you a much more detailed look at like the specific streets. Okay, so you guys know when you go to the mall, if you've gone to the mall in the past year because COVID, but there's like there's like it when you walk in, there's usually like a big like billboard type thing right there, and it says you are here, and you can look at you are here, and it gives you a roadmap to whatever store you want to go to. If you want to go to the Gap, it shows you where the Gap is, and you can say, okay, I got to go straight, take a left, up the escalator, and then I'm at the Gap. If you need to go to the pet store because you want to get yourself a little puppy, all right? Because you're a puppy person, all right? You look at it, you say, okay, well, Pete's Pet Patorium is it's on the first floor, and I have to go straight, take a right, take another right, and boom, bada bing, bada bang. It's the third store on the left. Okay, that's a road map. If you go to that place down in Carver with all the trains, it's a little amusement park. They give you a map when you go in, and it shows you where all the rides are, shows you where all the attractions are, and you can figure out if you're at the Ferris wheel and I want to go on the train. Oh, well, I guess I have to go about 300 feet this way, and there's the train. What is that place called? What is that place called? Oh my gosh, it's gonna kill me. Hold on. Watch this. This is, hold on, bear with me. I'm making amusement park in Carver, Massachusetts has to do with trains. I'm asking Google. Edaville Railroad. Edaville Railroad. That's what it is. Yeah, you hear it? It's talking. Okay, quiet. Okay. Edaville Railroad. They give you a little map and it shows you where all the rides are that you kids want to go on. Maybe you don't anymore because you're sixth grade, but if you have kids like me, they love Edaville Railroad. They want to go there. All right. So thicker lines indicate major roads, and thinner lines indicate minor roads. Major road would be a highway. Minor road would be basically a street with houses on it. Okay, so here's kind of here's a road map, right? We got an airport. We got some major roads here because the thicker lines, right? Another airport. This is an example of a road map. It's actually not a great. This is a kind of a better example of a road map, of a highway map. This shows you the major highways. So like if you look down here, see right there, I'm redding this out. That's Rockland. And this is where Calvary Chapel Academy is. All right? So now let's say that we're in Rockland and we want to go to Worcester. Okay? Worcester's right here, middle of the map. Well, we're going to go up 123. We're eventually going to hit Route 3. We're going to go north on Route 3. We're going to hit 93. We're going to follow 93 going this way, going north. We're going to hit the Mass Pike, Route 90. And we're going to go west until we hit, I believe, this is 190. And you go north on 190 till you hit Worcester. And that's great because that got us to the general area of Worcester. That actually got us to exactly to Worcester. But now we need a smaller map. We need more of a street map. So if you look down here where it says Worcester, not Worcester, Worcester, right? Well, guess what? Now we look and we're like, oh, look at here. There's an exit here. There's an exit here. There's an exit here. There's an exit here. This is going to give us a better representation of where we want to go, right? We know we're in Worcester, but this is going to be much more specific. This is kind of a street map. It's a real street map would be much more specific. You'd see a lot more stuff. And I think if I'm lucky, yes, we do have what a street map looks like. So this is basically, look, you have a street here, street here. This is Walker Street. So let's say that I am on St. Louis Street right here, and I need to get to, let's say Spring Ave right here. Well, I know that I need to, where was I? I need to know that I need to go north up to Liberty Street, and then I need to go east for a ways until I hit School Street. Oh, School Street. What a wonderful name. And then I go north on School Street until I hit, lo and behold, Spring Ave, and then I go west onto Spring Ave. Guess what? I used a street map to figure out where to go. All right? We're also going to learn about the alphanumeric system with street maps and stuff like that. Street maps, you used to be able to buy an atlas, and what an atlas was, you actually still can buy atlases, but you'd have them for the whole state of Massachusetts, and you would have every single city and town in Massachusetts in there with a detailed street map of every single street, and you could use that atlas to determine how to get anywhere in that town or anywhere in the state for that matter. GPS is kind of taking that away from us, but it's still an important skill to have because if the power grid ever goes down or if you lose your battery or your phone or whatever, it's important to know how to read a map. This is another example of a map. This is the subway system in Boston, okay? So you guys most of you live on the South Shore. If you wanted to go into Boston, most of you would get on the red line down here in Braintree at the very bottom. See this? And you would take that into South Station, all right? And then from there, if you're like, oh, I need to go to Cleveland Circle, well, guess what? You know that by looking at this map, you can determine that you need to continue taking this train all the way up here to the Green Line, okay, to Park Street. See, you get off at Park Street, and then you need to get on the Green Line. Now, there's separate lines here. There's the E line, there's the D line, and there's the C line. You need to know that you need to get on the C train. So you would have a train that comes by and it says E. And you're like, nope, not that train. Then another train would come by, it says D. You're like, nope, not that train. And another train comes and it says C. And you're like, oh, that's the one I want. Boom, now you're in Cleveland Circle. All right? And then to get home, you would just, reverse course. Okay? But learning how to use this, being able to read and determine where you are, and then determining where you need to go, and being able to follow these lines in order to get there, that's an important skill to have, all right? Because it will help you out later in life. Like if you go to college in like a big city, you're going to need to know how to read all this stuff, okay? And look, there's our legend. Hello, legend. All right, continue on. Cadastre maps. Okay, this is mainly in real estate, but it would show you essentially your property, your neighbor's property, and anybody's property that you want. You can go to your town hall. You can go online, probably on your town hall's website, and it's a little different every single town hall. But you play around with it, you'll eventually find a maps of every single property in that town. Okay, and it'll show you where the wetlands are. It'll show you the name of the streets. It'll show you who owns it. It will show you the location of it. It will show you all sorts of things, right? I actually had a great example of this that I want to bring in because I was looking at a property in Hanson to buy, and I actually called the town hall, and they were nice enough to send me a cadastre map of that whole of that property. All right, and it gave me a lot of information, which helped me determine that I could not buy that property to build a house on. And that's one of the things that this map does, right? It will tell us the restrictions that are based on it. On my map that I had, there were wetlands on there, and that's a building restriction. You can't build on wetlands. It could tell you who has rights to parts of your property, meaning that if you have power lines that go through your property, well, guess what? The electric company needs to get in there to maintain their lines, so they could have the right to go on your property whenever they want in order to maintain their lines. That's important to know. Maybe that you're not comfortable with that, and you wouldn't want to buy a property that has rights attached to that. Maybe the property behind you has a house, but guess what? They're landlocked, meaning that they have no access to a road. but they have the right to go across your property whenever they need to get to a road. Maybe you don't want that. It tells you who's responsible for some of the upkeep on there. Typically, it's the owner, but sometimes there can be exceptions for that. But this map would help you determine all that. It includes a description of the land. You know how big it is, how far east it goes, how far west it goes, how far north it goes, and how far south it goes. It will have that description in there, and it'll be very accurate. The Bureau of Land Management, they maintain all public records of lands in the United States. They have, all the national parks where there's free range for cattle, where you can bring your cattle to graze. All that stuff, they maintain all those records, where the watersheds are, where there's public drinking water. They have all these records that they maintain. You can request that from them through the Freedom of Information Act, and they'll send it to you. Okay, this is an example of a cadastre map, right? This is actually not that great of an example. This is, you know what? We're gonna the next one because that one wasn't that great. But look, in here you can see this is a cadastre map. You can see the road. You can see all these little squares are see square here, square here, square here, all these little squares everywhere, all over the map. These are individual parcels of land. So this could be my house, perhaps. This is my neighbor's house. This is my other neighbor's house. Here's another neighbor I have. This is my back neighbor. Here's another neighbor, right? It shows you who owns what, and it shows you where your property is in relation to everybody else. And that way, when you want to put up a no trespassing sign, you know that you can put it anywhere in this little square, right? But if you go here and put a no trespassing sign, whoa, well, that's your neighbor's land, right? You can't do that. And over here, same thing. Your neighbor Ray is gonna get really mad at you if you try putting a no trespassing sign right here. All right, but this is what real estate agents do. All right, they're like, okay, well, this one is 1.2 acres and it has, one house on it and one shed. Like, it's little things like that that they can read and you get a ton of information from. All right. Oh, a thematic map. All right, this shows you specific information about a place on Earth. Okay, it can show you about the climate, the population density, the health of a certain population. Of a certain area. So right here we have Europe, and as you guys can see, like if you look at this is looking about population density. It's talking about persons per a kilometer. I know we use miles in America; they use kilometers. They're wrong. We're right. We all know this, but we'll just deal with it, right? But look, so this like light color, right? Less than 50 people per a square kilometer. So right here, we know that there's less than 50 people per square kilometer. Same thing here. It's not heavily populated in this area, okay? But now we go down here to this color, to this, this red color, and look, that's 300 to 999 people per square kilometer. So we know that there's a much more dense population in this area. And then we get really dark, this little color right here, that's more than 1,000 people per square kilometer. So we know that those most likely, we can read this and say, oh, most likely these are cities. These are where there's a great density, a great population of people. Up here, not a lot of people. This is much more rural. There's probably more animals up here that are roaming free. They got some deer that are just prancing along here, really, free willy-nilly, whatever. All right, but we can use this stuff to kind of determine that stuff and understand it. Down in Spain, look at that. The middle section of Spain, there's one huge city, and then outlying it, guess what? Not many people. All right, got. Oh, another thematic map. Okay, so look, this tells us the immigration to the United States in 2007, right? So look, we can read this and say, oh, from South America, 106,525 people immigrated from South America into North America, into the United States. Not North America, but to the United States specifically. And that's what this map is telling us. Look, from Europe into America. What do we have? Europe, 120,821, right? 120,800. Yeah. People immigrated from Europe into the United States in 2007. So this shows us how many people from what continents are coming to America in 2007. Next one. Okay. This one is a thematic map. It's also kind of a political map, but it tells us the number of Democrats versus Republicans. So, for example, we see that there's plus Democrats. There's four more Democrats or Republicans per color. So in Texas, right? Texas, right down here, we know that for every Democrat, there are four more Republicans. All right? That's what it's telling us. In California, for every one Republican, there are four more Democrats. All right? And you just kind of you use that information, these colors, to read this whole map that way. All right? This is the 2012 Party Strength Index map. Okay? Which means that it shows where the Democrats have strongholds, where the Republicans have strongholds, where they're kind of fighting, like this would be evenly divided. This is like 50-50, you know? And then one of the useful things for this map is that the Republican Party would be like, well, we're not going to dump any money into any of these areas because we're already going to win those with electoral votes. But we'll dump money into these areas up here because guess why? We might win that vote, or the Democrats might win that vote. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Nope, false alarm, guys. Sorry. Okay. That's one of the uses of these thematic map. Oh, electoral map of 26th presidential election. This just tells us, the blue was obviously Hillary Clinton. The red was Donald Trump, but it shows us the Electoral College, who won what state. Okay? Because it says, look at that, winning candidate by state. Blue for Clinton, red for Trump. Okay, thematic. Why do I have so many thematic maps in here? But this, man, I think I added some. All right, so anyway, these are the leading church bodies in 2000. That was 21 years ago, guys. So look, down here in the South, look, all red, what does that mean? Down here, Baptist. That means in the South, there's tons of Baptist churches, right? Big Baptist churches here in the South. Then we go up here to like North Dakota. Guess what? What's this color? Lutheran, right? All right, so we know that there's a big Lutheran church, a lot of Lutheran churches up in North Dakota. Over here we have this like kind of tannish thing. Wow, look at Utah. Utah, what is that? Yep, Latter-day Saints. Now, the Latter-day Saints, they're Mormons. They're not Christians. They claim to be Christians. They're not Christians. They don't believe the same thing that we do. They don't believe like Jesus is the savior of the world. They believe that when they die, they're going to get their own planet and they're going to rule it. It's crazy. They call themselves Christians. They're not Christians. They're the Mormons. They're not. Okay, but look, they have a stronghold out here in Utah and in Idaho and stuff. This is where they're kind of located. And look, all the blue, Catholics, right? Huge Catholic population in New England, big Catholic population on the West Coast. And then, oh, look at this. Looks like Florida, the Catholics took over the coast and they're not letting the Baptists get to the beaches. Look at that, right? But we can kind of determine, what churches are where and whatnot by using this map. Very useful. Because guess what? Now we know that the Baptists need to take over the more Florida so they can get the beaches. That's a joke, guys. It's just a joke. All right. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this one. So this is another thematic map. This is the look last updated March 25th, 2021. This is the Massachusetts COVID-19 care score by town. What does this map tell us? Well, we look here, right? We look at say this color right here. That means that town's a moderate risk for getting coronavirus for people transferring it. So we have a few towns that have moderate risk of getting corona. Okay? We don't really have any low score ones. Look where we live. We pretty much all live around this area. We're all high risk. School's closed, so I guess that's kind of true, right? But look at that. Yeah, this tells us where coronavirus is kind of breaking out as of March 25th, 2021. All these red areas, big coronavirus places. All right? If you don't want to get coronavirus, guess where you go? Pew! You go to Western Mass. Hang out in here in the woods. Okay. I think actually this might be the last slide.